in this question, it says that Carmen, Juan, Maria, and Rafael drove, and they drove an average of 80 miles each. All right, so the average is 80, and it's given that Carmen drove 72 miles, Juan drove 78 miles, and it's mentioned that Maria drove 83 miles, and we need to find out how many miles Rafael did drive. All right, so that's the question. Now we can solve this question in two ways. Let me show you both the ways. First, I'll show you the easier way, and if you use this way, you'll solve it much faster. All right. Now remember, the average is the number that can replace each of these numbers without changing the total, right? So if you have 72 over here, 78 over here, 83 over here, and some number over here, and I get a total, right? Now without changing the total, if I can replace each of these with 80, that is what we call the average. All right. So that's another definition of the average. Now you know that average is sum by number of items, but average is also the number that can replace each of these without changing the total. All right. Now let's look at the case over here. Now the difference between 72 and 80 is minus 8, right? So I have minus 8 over here. Now the difference between 80 and this 78 over here is minus 2. So this is 78 is 2 less than 80. 72 is 8 less than 80. What about 83? 83 is 3 more than 80, right? Now, whatever comes over here, and if you add up all of these 4, you should get 0, right? Then only the total will be the same if you replace all of these with 80, right? So if I replace this with 80, I am changing it by 8. If I replace this with 80, I'm changing it by 2, right? And if I replace this with 80, I'm changing it by 3. So if I change this also with 80, whatever comes over here, all of these should add up to 0. So that's the principle over here, which will help you solve this question very fast, right? So you have minus 8 and minus 2 over here. This adds up to minus 10, and then you have 3 over here. So you should have plus 7 over here. So that over here you get plus 10, and these two will cancel out, right? So this has to be 7. That means Rafael has to travel 7 more than 80, which is equal to 80 plus 7, which is equal to 87. So the correct answer to this question is 87, which is option D. Now see that this is very fast, right? So 72 you have minus 8, 78 you have minus 2, 83 you have plus 3. Now if you add up these 3, right, you get minus 10 plus 3, which is equal to minus 7. So you need another plus 7 over here. So that's the answer. So 80 plus 7 gives you 87. Now the other way to solve this is using the traditional method. So over here the average is 80, and we know that average is total by number of items, right? So the total will be average into number of items, and over here we have 4, right? The number of items is 4, so the total is nothing but 80 into 4, which is equal to 320. Now we have already 3 items given over here, so let's add them up. 72 plus 78 plus 83 gives you 233, right? Now how much more do you need to get to 320? That would be 320 minus 233, which is equal to 87, which again is the same answer which we got over here, but you can do it much faster if you know this principle of averages. All right, now let's look at what this question tests. Now in this question you need to know that average is sum by number of items, right? So that is one way of solving this question, and you need to know that average is the number of that can replace every number without changing the total, right? So if you know that, you can solve this question very fast. Now what do I mean with that? Over here we have 72, 78, and we had 80 was the average. There was 83 for Maria, and then we have Rafael, right? Now if I replace each of these with 80, I will get the same total in both these cases. So that's the definition of average over here. Now using this principle, we solved it very fast, right? So over here I have minus 8. I'm having 8 less over here, so that should be compensated by the other numbers. And over here I have minus 2, so that's 2 less than 80. So this negative part should be compensated by the remaining 2 numbers. So over here I have plus 3. All right. So over here I have a total of minus 8 minus 2, which is minus 7, minus 10. Minus 10 plus 3 gives me minus 7. So this minus 7 has to be compensated by this number over here. So this number over here has to be 80 plus 7, and that gives me 87 as the answer. And that's the way to solve this in a very fast manner, and we're using this principle over here. Do check the description to know more about my GMAT Math live bootcamp, and remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in the next video.